Hello and welcome back. Still Hard Fact, originally live from your number one talk station, 92.3 Nigeria Info, here in Port Harcourt. I'm Dio. Let's talk. 10 minutes gone past 5. We got headlines to 5:30 p.m. The major news comes up at 6. However, in between now and 6 p.m., here's the matter we're discussing. Story Kotsi Daily Post. Naira crisis. CBN releases old notes to commercial banks. The Central Bank of Nigeria is set to release all 1,000 Naira, 500 Naira and 200 Naira notes in its custody to deposit money banks. A source at the CBN disclosed this to the Daily Post on Wednesday. Now, according to him, the Apex Bank has concluded plans to disburse old notes to deposit money banks across the country starting from Thursday, as today. He added the development would end the 2 months long Naira scarcity in Nigeria. This comes at the heels of the nationwide strike and protest in CBN office full the hard-to bank's Naira resign policy. The CBN's decision came several weeks after the Supreme Court ordered that old 1,000 Naira, 500 Naira and 200 Naira notes should remain legal tenders until December 31, 2023. Let's take a look at this at this time. I'm asking you, what has the Naira redesign policy of the federal government accomplished in your estimation? Let's get your take. Join the conversation via Facebook and Twitter at Nigeria Info PH. We're live there. Also, don't forget to check out our YouTube page as well. That's Nigeria Info PH. And at the appropriate time to call 070-0923-0923. However, joining me via phone from Lagos for this conversation right now is the co-founder, Chief Executive Officer, Managing Director of Sutiamo Technology Limited, a micro-lending institution. Also, his campus banker, economy strategist, former head, agency banking with Access Bank Group with over 22 years of banking history and experience. Michael Ugba joins me from Lagos. Michael, good evening to you. Welcome to Hard Facts.
Thank you very much, Dio. Dio, good evening. Good evening.
Good to be on the show again, Michael. I mean, the election have come and gone, so we can go back to discussing the economy now.
Yes.
But let's start with we're distracted to the issue of the design policy of CBN, the economy. We've talked necessity being the mother of invention. We had cases where people selling the most smaller extraction up till this moment with the scarcity of the Naira note, in spite of Supreme Court and the rest of how they've been called.
Okay, thank you very much, Dio. Like you rightly said, we are there in the market because over 90% of our customer base operates at the market. So yes, we have first-hand information on how it has been playing out, especially with our customers. So what you find is that because our customers in the market where they are a bit more stable than who you see on the road. So, and I told you that the January be giving out cash to anybody. So we have various accounts. For those that do not have accounts, our agency officers open accounts for them. We have partnership with 1 or 2 banks. So they open accounts instantly for them. And for the loans, the accounts are credited. So I want to buy meat, I want to buy rice, I want to buy chicken, onions, whatever. Okay, so I have a list of 15 items I want to buy. It's 1,200. I have things like 100 Naira, 200, 250. So I go to the market. Since it's a defined area, I go to Mama Sikira, can you sell tomato? How much? 250. Mama Sikira says to me, no. Mama Sikira points at the POS available here guy and say, go pay him. If he confirms your money, come back and take your goods. So I go to Mama Sikira. I go to the POS guy. He says, okay, how much are you transferring? 250. I'm going to charge you 100 Naira. Go ahead. So I get charged. He confirms that the money has hit his account. Mama Sikira gives me the goods I've paid for, and everybody is happy. So this POS guy collects for everybody, has a register where he writes everybody that comes to him. At the end of the day, everybody has gone home. Mama Sikira and the other people in the market will come to him, and there is a reconciliation, and everybody is paid. So that's what has happened in real time. I also know people in my office, a couple of my staff, skipped work for 2 days, 3 days, and for no fault of theirs, because the transporter says you must give me cash before I will allow you in my vehicle, because the moment you alert, I don't want to be chasing you around. So I also understand that the cash has an impact on not just the market women, but generality of people. I live within an estate where everything I've been doing with cash, I do with transfers. And because it's within an estate, it's easier for me. Even when my kids want to buy stuff, go tell Abubakar to send you the account number. We'll credit Abubakar and tell Abubakar over the phone, oh, the money has come, the money has not come. Okay, give them what they want, blah, blah, blah. I go to church, I do transfer. So, yes, it hasn't eased up a lot since the election and since the Supreme Court ruling. It's still a problem. But I think people are getting creative, like you said. Necessity is the mother of invention, and people are finding way around it. But majority of Nigerians are still suffering because of this policy.
All right, I'd like for us to explore the reasons for the Naira redesign policy of the government, as explained by government, and I'd like for you to help in exploring whether or not these reasons or these purposes have been accomplished. There are possibly several reasons, but some of them specifically were listed by the government as the reason for this. Now, one of the reasons given by the CBN for the redesign policy, let's start with these four. One of them is the Naira redesign is to address the issue of individuals who have made currency fraud their main source of income. People who have hidden money they have stolen, for instance, would either find a way to change it by taking the money out or would not need it given the change in the value of the Naira. So has the Naira redesign policy addressed this challenge?
It hasn't addressed that challenge. It kicks the can. If you have stored money in your house, it's still a legal tender until December 31st, according to the Supreme Court. So that has not been solved. It's only extended to December.
Will deal a blow to going kidnapping and ransom taking industry in the country. I don't know if you can comment on that.
I can. I have it on good authority that the kidnapping, the ransom and stuff have reduced tremendously. I have a friend, he's the United States of America, Oji Obonaya. He's my very good friend. He and I were talking last weekend. He told me that his uncle that lives in the Ungwa area part of Aba, there is a village where Alpha is from. His uncle called him and said to him that because of this cash issue, that kidnapping has stopped in their area because it was the norm at some point. And that these days, when he's going, he's not mindful of pickpockets and people doing stupid things. Why? Because they know that nobody has money. You rather kill the person than say he's going to give you money. Where do you want the money to come from? So generally speaking,
but it affected kidnapping ransom. How about also the change in notes is set to aid in lowering the rate of inflation. Inflation has been a situation. It's actually high recently. Has reduced inflation in the country.
It hasn't. The inflation rate just came out. It went up the last quarter. National Bureau of Statistics. That is not perfect. Things are not spending at the youth. It's a catch-22. On the other hand, your purchasing power has reduced. Think about the civil servant. Before now, his minimum wage is 30,000. So you give the civil servant 30,000. He takes this 30,000. He wants to withdraw it from a bank or from the POS available here. He has to buy that card. So for every 10,000 he wants to collect to spend, he will be giving 7,000, for instance. The other 3,000 goes to charges. So invariably, he's now receiving 21 to 24,000 per month as against his 30,000 that he was receiving prior to now. Think about it. The velocity of that money goes somewhere. It hasn't totally, even if you argue that it goes to the POS guys, and POS guys will tell you that they buy the money from the filling station, the fuel station. Fuel stations will tell you the challenges that they are having that has made them to resort to collecting only cash. So everything and the cost of the things that used to be a bit cheaper then, I know about perishable goods that have come down because you rather sell it whatever price than have it perish overnight. So yes, I understand that. But generally speaking, have goods or products or services gone down? The answer is no. So yeah, it hasn't fought inflation like they anticipated it was going to. Maybe in the long run, in mind, but specifically for now, it hasn't had the impact on inflation that it was expected to.
Talking about inflation, could that also have been affected by the fuel situation, the scarcity or the high cost of fuel as well?
Yes, without a doubt. If you look at food inflation and you look at transportation and fuel, yes, the answer is yes, clearly. Yeah, the fuel challenge, the queue have reduced, but the areas, especially outside the major economic hubs, they are still buying fuel at exorbitant prices. It's not as if it is uniform price all over the country. So yes, that inflation is there. That bit of inflation is still there, yeah.
Also, another reason given for the Naira redesign is that it's intended to control the amount of money in circulation. Has that been accomplished?
The answer is yes and no. I'll start with the yes. The yes is that given the statistics given to us by CPN, they said they've mopped up a chunk of the money in circulation. That is according to CPN. So that's the yes. The no is the fact that whether they succeeded or not, CPN has legislated that the cash should come back. And the discussion you and I are having today is the fact that CPN has directed banks to go ahead and start releasing the old coins on the just means that even if
Hello, Michael. Michael, please hold that thought. We have to go for commercial break now. We'll return shortly. Also, remember we have got headlines at 5:30 p.m. Discussions continue after that. Please stay with us. Hard Facts will be back in a bit. Welcome back to the Hot Factor Nigeria Info here in Port Harcourt. I'm Dio. 27 minutes ago before 6 p.m. The major news is up at 6. However, discussions continue. And speaking of discussions continuing, has the matter been discussed at the moment? Naira crisis. CBN releases old notes to commercial banks. The CBN is set to release all 1,000 Naira, 500 Naira and 200 Naira notes in its custody to deposit money banks. A source at the CBN disclosed this on Wednesday. According to him, the Apex Bank has concluded plans to disburse old notes to deposit money banks across the country starting from Thursday. That's today. He added that the development would end the 2 months long Naira scarcity in Nigeria. My guest is John via phone from Lagos. He is CEO Citiamo Technology Limited, Michael Ogban. However, I do have to reconnect with my guest. To stay tuned. Hard Fast returns in a bit.
We connect you to the world. We connect you to the vicinity. We are Nigeria Info.
Listen to me. I said this is a real situation and the government has to do something about it.
What are you trying to insinuate? All these people looting Nigeria's money? You think
This is Nigeria Info. In the heart of Nigeria.
92.3.
We are Nigeria Info.
Politics, business, lifestyle, economy, social events, all of these and more make us what we are, human beings. Where else do you start your conversations but on 92.3 Nigeria Info?
A clean surrounding is a collective effort.
Diseases could be avoided.
Dial.
Welcome back, and thanks for staying tuned. Discussions are on. Apologies for that break, but thankfully reconnected with my guest, Michael Ogba Johnson, once again via phone from Lagos. Hello, Michael. You're welcome back.
Thank you, Dio. Sorry for the poor network.
Oh, not your fault, I believe. And once again, if you just joined in, the topic is Naira crisis. CBN releases old notes to commercial banks. I'm asking, what has the Naira redesign policy of the government accomplished? The response comes via Facebook and Twitter, and here in pitch. Show the line with the cables via 00630. That's the break. So the change in Naira note is and this said response.
I said, CBN has drawn quite a lot of money, and they have told us how they've withdrawn.
Isn't that quite ironic? I mean, the CBN made people jump through hoops to get this money to mop up the money, and now the same money, and the idea was to mop up the excess liquidity, to mop up the old notes and all of that, and people, once again, some people really literally jump through hoops to make that happen, to get the money into the banks, and now after all of those rigors. And now the CBN is saying we're going to throw the money back in circulation again. I mean, you've got over 22 years experience in the banking industry. I mean, you're still very much involved in financial services industry. How do you feel? How do you feel about that? This policy. What do you make of this?
Okay, so nobody expected this to happen. I think the problem started with the intervention of the Supreme Court of Nigeria. And rightly so, because people are going through a lot. It coincided with the politics. It also happened with the fuel crisis and all that. So the trauma the average Nigerian was going through was something the Supreme Court and a lot of government, you saw state government take the federal government and CBN to court and all that. Otherwise, we will look stupid in the eyes of the international community. Why did you go out through the whole problem only for it to be turned around? And the reluctance on the part of the Central Bank of Nigeria is understandable. I'm not justifying it. I'm saying since they have the knife and they have the yam, they will determine what portion they cut out to anybody. So this is within their jurisdiction to determine the amount of currency they are going to release into circulation. That is why they are being a bit hesitant in making the money available in the quantum it used to before the whole thing started. And one good thing I'm taking away from the picketing that the Nigerian Labour Congress is trying to do next week is right now they are actually targeting the right person. It's not the commercial banks, because commercial banks are just a conduit. It's just a channel through which these monies are made available. So now the NLC is going after CBN, who has the authority to release this money. If it is in the CBN offices, let them tell the banks to come collect the same money they have mopped up and start releasing. So to me, yes, and I think what you and I are discussing today is as a result of that threat by the NLC. They now see that, yes, we can't run this country like this. There should be law and order, and people should not be made to suffer unnecessarily. And I think these are military history that has made people to only hear force. If the NLC did not come out to do it, maybe perhaps CBN might still be reluctant in making the money available.
Now, another reason which we must touch on for the Naira redesign was to reduce the unbanked population. How was the CBN fared with that one?
I think there has been some level of improvement in that, given that I've told you the story of Sitiamo Technology Limited, the organization I have the privilege of superintending over. We have opened nothing less than 200 to 250 accounts in the last 1 month. These are people that ordinarily would not bother opening accounts because they didn't need it. But now, because of the situation on ground, a lot of unbanked people are coming into that financial inclusion cycle. So I think CBN is gradually, very strenuously achieving their aim of financial inclusion.
Oh, let's get your take right now. The number is the same. The lines are open. Call 070-0923. 093. But I do have to ask you this as well, Michael. What has been the impact of this Naira redesign policy on the economy?
If the NLC did not come up with this trend, sometime later this year, Nigeria was going to go into recession again because the impact was going to be phenomenal. I was listening to Bismarck Ruwani, the famous economist. He was talking about that there are 2 billion naira tips that circulate across Nigeria on a daily basis. And he said that because of this naira redesign, that has been cut off. And that is the engine, according to him, that's like a fuel to a car. Those are the things that oil the economy of the country. So if it is not rightly handled, it was going to lead to another recession. And thankfully, a lot of the stakeholders are shouting, a lot is happening, so it is not going to be as drastic as it would have if we all do what we are supposed to do.
No doubt, the policy imposed a lot of hardship on Nigerians. Now, considering all the economy with the note it appeared so desperate to retrieve not too long ago, would you say that the hardship imposed on Nigerians and all of everything else surrounding that, has it all been worth it so far?
You know, they always say that the end justifies the means. In this instance, I'm reluctant to agree with that axiom. If a lot of people die, even if you achieve your aim, they can't be resurrected. So I think the level of stress and distress that Nigerians have gone through, even if you end up reducing the amount cash in circulation, even if you end up increasing the number of included or reduce the number of those outside the banking sector, even if you end up making alternative channels available, it still might not justify the suffering that Nigerians have been made to go through. I understand the end goal of CBN and the federal government, but I think it should be moderated, balance the suffering with the reality, and that would be my position. I would say in the middle.
Is there a better way to have implemented the Naira redesign policy?
Say it again, Dayo.
Is there a better way to have implemented the Naira redesign policy?
Yes. Initially, I was with the CBN because I thought that they wanted to use it to stop the vote buying. But at the end of the exercise election, we realized that vote buying wasn't the only problem. So to that extent, I think they could have done it in a way. The timing was not the best. They could have waited. The time they did it was too short for it to have the reasonableness and the moral angle to it. So for me, there is a better way they could have implemented it, not just to combine the limitation, the cash limit, together with the redesign. It was too sudden and too many things happened at that same time. Imagine the fuel crisis. Nobody anticipated it. Imagine all the network of banks that refused to work when it was time for them to come to the party. Nobody anticipated that. So it caused a lot of problems for everybody.
Let's get your take once again. Got a few minutes to go before 6 p.m. Lines up and call 070-0923-0923. Via Facebook and Twitter at Nigerians for PH. And via Facebook, first as Google goes, could have been that the CBN Naira redesign has done more harm than good to the average Nigerian. The CBN's recent antics show that their actions in redesigning and holding the old and new notes in the name of improving the economy, as the sole claim, is nothing but deception of the highest order. Where edit goes, the greatest achievement of the policy is the innovative and technological compliance of all Nigerians. You have to ensure you carry the codes of all Nigerian banks offhand to be able to effect transfers. That's a funny one. Hello, hard fact to welcome.
Hello, Dayo, good day.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, thank God is my name, calling you from Port Harcourt. Dayo, sincerely speaking, I think what is causing the whole of this issue is that Nigeria does not have any strong institution. Dayo, a policy that does not contribute to the growth of the nation. Imagine the people that died this period. Imagine the properties that was being destroyed, the banks that are being destroyed, properties that are being destroyed, lives that are being taken because of this kind of policy, this kind of policies. And now you are taking us back to the same. You're bringing us back the same naira note you asked us to return back and reject. You did not even make the new one enough for the masses. Sincerely speaking, if I tell you my experience within this short period, if I tell you my experience, now you shake ears. Sincerely speaking, it's bad. Is it because we decide to choose to be law-abiding? Is that the reason why leaders they just come up with policies, just wake up overnight, come up with policies? They don't feel how painful, how it affects the people, whether positive or negatively. It's wrong. They don't do things like that. Sincerely speaking, let me just reserve my comments and go, please.
Let's get your take as well. Still 070-0923-0923 is the number to call. Could it just very short? Maybe I can take another call. Maybe, and that's a big maybe. Let's see. Dial, Nigerians are impatient. The president meant well. He remains the best. Okay. Well, the way the present Labour leadership is hitting the ground running, I think there will be a positive change immediately after the Labour president gave the industrial action order yesterday. CBN governor held emergency meeting with banks, promising to release enough currency in circulation starting from today. This is among good steps taken already within state leadership. That's from Victor. All right, so Michael, we have to wrap this up right now. So, with the order of the CBN, do you perceive that the CBN governor is real or sincere with this, or is it as the expression used on the streets? Is this an audio order? Because we've had orders in the past that were not adhered to by anyone or were not really meant by the CBN. Not sure about that. Is this a real order this time around? Very quickly, please.
I think he will be reluctant to do it. He will try to avoid the strike. He will make some money available, but he is hell-bound on ensuring that CBN have their way. So I'm not enthusiastic about it. I don't think he meant well for the average Nigerian. He wants to push through all those sentiments that CBN wants to promote. So the jury is out.
And now to wrap up this conversation, thanks for listening. Thanks to my guest, Michael Ogbai, CEO, Sitamo Technology Limited. He joined the conversation via phone from Lagos. Michael, many thanks for your time.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
Got a commercial break coming up shortly. About the hour at 6 p.m. is the major news. A review of all the matters discussed on the show today is up after that during the open season segment. Please stay tuned. Hard Facts returns shortly.